Welcome back to Every Disney Movie Ever. My name is Jess and I'm watching Every Disney Movie Ever. Today I'm going to be talking about Captain America Civil War. Captain America Civil War is a 2016 theatrical release about Tony and Steve not being able to agree on the Sokovia Accords or Bucky Barnes, so all of the Avengers fight. It's directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, cinematography by Trent Opaloch, editing by Jeffrey Ford and Matthew Schmidt, music by Henry Jackman, and it's written by Stephen McFeely and Christopher Markus. The film stars Chris Evans as Steve, Robert Downey Jr. as Tony, Sebastian Stan as Bucky, Anthony Mackie as Sam, Scarlett Johansson as Natasha, Jeremy Renner as Clint, Paul Rudd as Scott, Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Don Cheadle as Rhodey, Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda, Paul Bettany as Vision, and Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa. In March of 2014, the Russo brothers confirmed that they had signed on for it, and Markus and McFeely had said they were working on a script since 2013. In April, the Russo brothers said the project would be a continuation of The Winter Soldier. In 2015, they likened the film's genre to like a psychological thriller, like Seven or Fargo or The Godfather. In 2014 of October, Downey was in negotiations to reprise his role as Tony. If those negotiations fell through, they would have gone with a Mad Bomb storyline, and then they were in long negotiations with Sony to try and get Spider-Man, and it looked like it might not have happened, but they wrote the script with Spider-Man in it, really hopeful, and it obviously worked out. They wanted to really focus on the world's reaction to all the world-ending events. April of 2015 is when filming had began. They filmed all over. This film is heavily considered Avengers 2.5 or 2.5. And then they used IMAX 2D cameras, Arri Alexa 65, and the rest of the film on the Arri Alexa XT. Mark Ruffalo was supposed to be in it originally, but then they decided they didn't want to bring him into it because they didn't want to explain how he was back, because it had ended with the open end of like he left and they don't know where he went. They originally were going to fully break Pepper and Tony up, but obviously went a little more away from that. I'm sure Robert Downey Jr. had something to say about that. And then they used 20 visual effects studios. The film had a $250 million budget, made $1.155 billion in the box office. It's got a 91% Rotten Tomatoes consensus. Captain America Civil War begins the next wave of Marvel movies with an action-packed superhero blockbuster boasting a decidedly non-cartoonish plot and the courage to explore thought-provoking themes. All while this was happening, Chris Evans talked about how he would be, he would never, say full no to reprising the role, but as of 2024, when asked if he would be in Doomsday, because there were a lot of rumors, he denied it and said he was happily retired. This was followed by the show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then followed by Captain America Brave New World. This has a ton of coverage. Like, they spent that much money on this movie. It has a ton of movement. They kept the handheld spirit of Winter Soldier, but like upped the movement a ton. Every shot was so fast. There was good lighting and everything. I think I liked the stylistic lighting and color correcting they went with in Winter Soldier a bit more than this. This movie's a bit brighter, a bit more blanket. I feel like there are only a few scenes that have like some interesting dynamic lighting. The rest is all kind of, it's pretty, but like it's vast, tons of digital green screen because you're dealing with the most massive A-list cast of all time, I feel like. But it was pretty, and it was a ton. Super quick cuts, way faster than Winter Soldier. Right in the beginning, one of the first action sequences, it was like cut, and I was like, whoa, okay, we're moving, we're grooving. The movie is long. It's 2.5 hours long. And there were a couple moments that I felt it. I was like, okay, I get that like so much important stuff has to happen in this movie. With the politics of the Sokovia Accords and the splitting of the Avengers and how some people agree that maybe we need the Sokovia Accords and others agree that it's a bad call. And like, ultimately it is a bad call, but like the argument for it is there, and that's why they're, whatever, but it just, like, it's a long movie, and they have to focus on a lot of different aspects of the stories in order to set up a few. Like, we're setting up Black Panther, we're setting up Spider-Man, we just got, you know, Ant-Man back into, like, Ant-Man's now in the official fold. Like, they were introducing a few, and you know, Bucky is now, like, back and kind of good, and, like, all this kind of stuff, and it's just a lot. And it's not, like, painfully boring or slow in any parts, but it is long. It feels long. I remember the first time I saw this, I was like, that was a lot of information. I feel like I would need to watch this a handful of times to get, like, truly through all of it. And even in the rewatches I've done with, like, when I had my mom watch all the Marvel movies before Infinity War and, like, all this kind of stuff, it was still, like, it's a lot of information. And I feel like I finally, like, watching it for this, fully, like, track everything, understood everything, and with everything. Like, I remembered all of it, but I don't know. Like, maybe my brain is fully developed and I understand the politics of it better. I don't know. But it feels long, but not in, like, necessarily a bad way. The only music moment that really stood out to me is when Steve, like, finally gets the shield into Tony's arc reactor to get it, like, so he can't fight him, because there's no way Tony by himself without his suit, could fight Steve. So that music was so emotional. Otherwise I didn't super notice it, which is a good thing, but I will say, just based on what I did hear, I feel like Henry Jackman's Winter Soldier score was better. It was more interesting, more fun, more recognizable to me. This one, it felt very like it's an Avengers movie, so unless like a stylized Captain America movie, you know? Right off the bat, there are 3 parent deaths in this movie. You have Tony's parents, which, keep in mind, I started watching at the Avengers, so they have not mentioned that Tony's dad and mom have died. It's insinuated when he talks about his dad and whatever, but in this one we obviously see it freaking happen, so we're counting it, because I know in Iron Man 1 they talk about a lot about how his dad is dead or whatever, but we didn't watch Iron Man 1 because it wasn't a Disney movie yet. So, Tony's parents, and then obviously another one we see on screen, T'Chaka dies. So T'Challa's dad dies in this movie, so we have 3 parent deaths on screen, not even said, but like on screen. And then this is just rough. I have a hard time. I know I've mentioned before that this movie stresses me out. I hate when, like, a found family fights. I can't do it. I can't. And especially when it's like, I get where everyone is coming from. You know what I mean? Like, I totally understand why Steve is against the Accords, because he's like, this is a bad idea. Like, his whole argument, like, what if we want to go somewhere and they won't let us? And what if they send us somewhere we don't think we should go? Like, I fully am with him on that argument. I'm also fully with him on why he would want to be saving Bucky. They're in love, but they're also the only pieces of their time that they have. So, like, they're super bonded because of that. And I understand Steve is Steve through and through and wants to save someone if they can be saved. And I get that. And on the flip side, Tony, you know, is seeing all the heartache and heartbreak and tragedy that their actions have caused for regular people, everyday people. They've killed people as, you know, bystanders because of everything that's going on, you know, and he is having people bring him pictures, and, you know, he's seeing all these people's lives that they've ruined, and it's like, we need to be put in check. Like, we are too powerful. Like, we all have so much power, and like Tony has unlimited money, so then they really have too much power, and it comes down to we need someone to say, like, yes, we want your help, and no, we don't want your help. You know, with the United Nations, they'll be able to say, like, this country does want your help with this event. No, they don't. Like, leave them alone. You know, which, it's not a bad argument. Like, if it were any other people other than the Avengers, they'd be abusing those powers and trying to take over the world, i.e. every other villain, like Loki or whatever. You know, they want to take over the world with their power. Everyone just happens to be lucky that it's the Avengers and they don't want to take over the world. They're just trying to protect everybody. But, like, whose choice is that to make? There's like such a compelling argument on both sides. And I know it's really heated. People get very like, if you agree with Tony, screw you, Cap is right. And vice versa. And I feel like I think it is such a difficult thing to navigate. And it makes total sense that this fight would happen. Especially with Tony feeling so guilty that he feels like he needs to fix it. Tony's the fixer. He wants to fix it. He wants to do the right thing, but doesn't super know what that is. And then there's Steve, who like fought in war, right? And like trusts his gut, right? Steve is the gut guy, where Tony is the I need to fix it guy. So it makes sense, right? And I just feel like it is hard. I think it's that hard for me because of that. Because I can see the arguments of both sides and I don't like to see them fighting. You know? And then we throw in, like, everyone gets mad that Tony wants to, like, get revenge for his parents' death by... He wants to kill Bucky in the moment. He obviously comes around and doesn't. But I think people get, like, really mad at Tony for wanting to kill Bucky. But, like, it's in the movie. Where he's like, it wasn't him... He was brainwashed, blah, blah, blah. And Tony, in that moment, is going, I don't care. He killed my mom. Like, if someone killed my mom, the way, I would be the same. You know, like, even if it was like, you know, they were brainwashed, they didn't know, I'd be like, well, someone's gotta pay because they killed my mom. So, I can see that. And obviously, he doesn't win. Everyone, like, you know, works together. They all become friends. You know, like, it's good. Tony is good. He comes around. He understands. And that's what matters, right? And so, like, I just think I struggle so hard because I hate to see all of them fighting. It's so hard for me. Because I love Tony and Steve, and I don't like it. Anyway, that's a really long tangent. I love Bucky and Sam. Bucky and Sam make me, like, they make me laugh the most. Just, can you move your seat up? No. You couldn't have done that earlier? I hate you. Like, it's so funny. They're so great. And just they're, like, Bucky and Sam against Spider-Man. So good. Absolutely excellent. This is very intense. There's lots of tension, obviously. I am of the opinion that this is definitely not a Captain America movie. Like, this is definitely Avengers movie. They just called it Captain America Civil War. Because it is truly an infighting Avengers movie, but they can't call it the Avengers because, you know, the Avengers are fighting outward things, not themselves, apparently. Anyway, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's a very good movie. It just is so stressful to me because I don't like them fighting. Anyway, post-credit scene number 1 was Steve, Bucky, and T'Challa in Wakanda, putting Bucky back to sleep so they can figure out how to de-brainwash him. And then the final post-credit scene is Spider-Man with his little Spider-Man logo. Sound effects in this were really satisfying. The punches were just, like, meaty and so, like, yes, pleasing to the ear. Also, the fight choreo is excellent. I genuinely, like, love that everyone kind of has a different fighting style. You know, you got Steve, who's very brawler, boxer-esque, and then you have Sam, who's very acrobatic, because he is, like, flying and special force type stuff. And then you got Natasha, who is very spy, assassin-y, you know, wily, the way she can beat people up and do things. And then you got Tony, who's gadgety, and you have Vision, who is just synthetic and strong and has a beam, you know? Like, everyone's fight style is so different just because they have different things going on for them and their upbringings and all that kind of stuff, and I think they capture that really well, you know? Like, another acrobatic one would be Peter Parker, because he's swinging around and is super flexible and is strong and all that kind of stuff, so I think it's really fun to see the different fight styles and how they incorporate that into the choreography. Favorite part? The funny lines and when everyone's getting along. My least favorite part? infighting. Steve and Tony not getting along. That makes me sad. I just want them to be besties. Recommend, yeah, watch again. Not anytime soon, I hope. This movie stresses me out. Specific moments, I have nothing else really. I've already talked about it. So overall, it's a good movie. It just, like I said, stresses me out. So I'm done with it. So that's it. My final rating is 8 Hydra Diaries out of 10. Our total movie count is. Our parent death toll is. My comments are the same. If you want to keep up with what movie I'm watching when, follow me on all socials. To find out what movie I'm watching when, I put up videos every Monday and Friday and sometimes Wednesday. Join Patreon. I got a tier starting at just $1. You get every video a week early. Tiers above that, daily trivia, monthly postcards, bonus content, all that good stuff. Go check it out. Your name in the description of the video if you want. Go, look, see. Buy merch. Merch is great, merch is great. Until next time, comment, subscribe. I'm not in charge of your life. You are, so do you, and don't be Zemo about it. What?